Today's guest is Alex Chung, founding head of growth at Goodword, and former venture investor with a background spanning in marketing, startups, venture capital, and growth strategy. Alex currently leads go-to-market strategy and growth at Goodword, a company building technology designed to strengthen human connection, helping professionals manage relationships more intentionally without losing the human element. Before stepping into an operator role, Alex worked in venture and investing, including at Chai Ventures, where she supported early-stage women-led companies focused on health and wellness and human connection. Her career path has been anything but linear. Alex has held roles across healthcare tech, real estate private equity, marketing, and startups, and landed a role as a pre-seed and seed VC investor. What ties all of this together is Alex's deep curiosity about people, behavior, and connection, and how those insights translate into building better products, companies, and communities. Alex, welcome to the Her Workplace Unfiltered podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, and I too am just excited to get to know you better because I know, like we said before, we are internet friends. We've never met in person and had a real conversation. So excited to just learn more about you. So I want to start off with just your career path. You have this kind of non-traditional path from digital marketing to startups to investing, and now you're head of growth at Goodword. So I want to just start with kind of what drew you to tech and growth.
So yeah, I think if you looked at my resume, you would think it seemed a little bit random and disjointed. But I love that Steve Jobs quote from a commencement speech he gave at Stanford. And he talks about you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them, looking backwards.
I love that quote. I actually saw that quote this morning.
Wow, it's a sign.
What a small world.
It's a sign. But yeah, and I think if I look at all of the past experiences I've had and the opportunities I've been drawn to, I think the through line is working for awesome people and then also wanting to create something that's bigger than myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I think my first big business experience was in middle school when I was trading stickers. I would have my dad bring over stickers from Asia and I would say, hey, one of my stickers is worth 10 of yours from the store down the street. And that was kind of my first foray into entrepreneurship, not really a business. And then I think each of my experiences in startup world, venture world, even interning in private equity, all taught me about sort of what it takes to be a founder and scale a business and build a legacy and build technology that can really change people's lives and change sort of the fabric of our everyday.
So for those women that are listening,
yes,
what advice would you have for them? Say they feel a lot of pressure to have this perfect career path. What would you tell them, given that you've had this nonlinear path with all of these amazing experiences that have that inner connection?
Yeah, I mean, I would say figure out what the thing is that you're optimizing for when you're evaluating a new opportunity or, maybe you're sitting in a job listening to this right now. Are you optimizing for learning? Because maybe the next thing you want to do is start your own thing. And maybe you're in a job right now that allows you to see the inner workings of a startup, or maybe it allows you to see a lot of different companies because you're an investor. But I would say that's kind of step one. I would say step two is there is no perfect career path. I think in college, a lot of folks will go right into banking or consulting or something pretty traditional right after in a 2-year rotational program. So I think if you're able to figure out what that larger vision is, if you want to create something or build something and figure out what those building blocks are, I think it'll give you a lot more clarity and take some of the pressure off.
Yeah.
And add more positive, exciting pressure.
Yeah. Well, I think too, it's, especially in school, you're kind of taught that, okay, there's this one path that you go down.
Totally. And I feel like the analogy is if you work hard enough, then you'll get the result you want, but that's not really how the real world works.
Yeah, it's more about the experiences.
Totally.
So I want to go back to your experience in venture capital.
Yes.
And just talk a little bit more about what that taught you about the companies that do scale and grow.
Yes. So for context for the folks listening, at Chai Ventures and at Decibel before that, but at Chai, we were primarily investing in women-led companies at pre-seed and seed in health and wellness and human connection. So pre-seed and seed is very early. There's often some traction, someone's an idea, but the product and the business model might pivot.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the context for folks listening. I think something that I learned in terms of what makes a business like viable for scaling and just good investment, et cetera, I think the founder market fit piece is really, really important and shouldn't be underestimated. Like, is this the best person to start this business? Do they have some sort of leg up versus anyone else coming in to start this business? Some innate knowledge or experience, I think is something that seems secondary, but I think in this age where knowledge, skills, et cetera, are so easy to learn, I think that piece is super important.
Yeah, definitely. So why did you decide to make that shift from being an investor to now working with Goodword?
Yes. So I don't know if folks know this, but Goodword was actually one of my portfolio companies.
Oh, wow.
So about this time last year, we kind of signed the paperwork and committed to investing in their seed round. So it's pretty full circle. Like, I was the person internally that was championing for the deal, got it over the line. And then through that process, also realized that I believed in this company kind of in a way that excited me, even more than some of the other portfolio companies, and could see myself really helping build this company from the ground up, and love the mission and sort of the overall philosophy of the company. Sort of how can we in this, I think it's the biggest paradox. Like, we're in this AI world, we're more connected than ever, but also feel more disconnected than ever from our personal relationships. So how can we use that tech to bring us together and create more opportunities from our relationships? So incredibly inspiring. Ended up jumping ship. And then I think also perfect company, perfect time. But then also it was, I think, broader like sort of sentiment around building right now versus investing. I think there are so many interesting tools right now that essentially democratize the building process for anyone.
Yeah.
And
makes it easier.
Enable you to iterate at a really rapid speed, which excited me a ton. So kind of the perfect storm of all of those things.
That's awesome. And you've been there for a few months now. For those listening who may not be familiar with Goodword, what is Goodword building?
So I joined in June, the day we came out of stealth. And then we launched invite-only commercial beta kind of around Halloween this year. And for those listening, with Goodword, we're building essentially an AI-powered networking chief of staff. So think of us as like your relationship OS, your relationship operating system, as a way to manage all of your contacts. So if you look through your iPhone contacts today, or if you look through LinkedIn, or if you look through Google Calendar, that sort of context layer on, hey, Alex, like, you and Marilynn are internet friends. Like, you've exchanged these messages. Like, this is what her workplace used to be, and like, this is what it is now. You're going to be on her podcast. All of that kind of stuff is missing if I just went on your profile. So that's what we're building in right now, and giving you a better kind of sense of who you know, and reminding you to reach out to the right person at the right time. Ultimately, want to help folks create more opportunities from the relationships. If you're a founder and you're trying to raise, maybe we'll help you find, hidden capital in your network that you didn't realize was there.
Yeah, I think that's awesome, because the hardest part about networking is the effort, right?
No, totally.
That you have to put into it, of like finding the right people.
So we just actually released this report on the state of human connection in 2026. And I don't think it's an intention gap. Like, I don't think people are, ill will, don't think networking is important, et cetera. I think it's an execution gap.
Yeah. It's overwhelming.
Totally. So I think it's the cognitive load. It's the actual time it takes to write a really, good handcrafted message. I don't think anyone would argue with me, the value of a follow-up or sending a thank you note or any of that. So how can we essentially use AI to augment all of those things and make it easier to be you at scale? To reach out to those folks.
I love it. And that's too a lot of what we do at her
Totally.
workplace as well. There's a lot of cross connection of, I am all about how can we, for her workplace specifically, get more access to women?
Exactly.
Like how can women get easier access to people, resources, and opportunities? So I love just everything that you guys are building. I'm curious what your thoughts are. And I know, you talk a lot about this on LinkedIn and, in your own professional brand.
Yes.
But how do you integrate technology into building connections and relationships, but still keep it human?
I think it's at the core of like why we exist as a company.
Yeah.
I think, we will never be the company that's sending messages on your behalf to people. For example, if you wanted to be introduced to someone in my network, me as the connector, as the introducer, I still want to be the one facilitating that and being that bridge. So I think you can use technology for the searching, for the querying, for the context and giving you the information. But I think people still want to be the ones hitting the send button, being face to face like this.
Yeah.
And creating those authentic, magical moments. I think that can't be replicated with AI and all of this technology right now.
Yeah. It gets you in the room.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think that's what we need more of. Like,
Yeah.
how do you essentially use tech, use platforms like Her Workplace and Goodword, et cetera, to craft the best, narrative, story, blurb about yourself to get you in the room and get you the meeting.
Yeah. I think it's awesome and, so needed.
Yes.
And you're working with a female co-founder.
Yes.
What has that experience been like? Like, I know a lot of your portfolio companies were diverse led, but working with a diverse leader.
I think it's awesome. And then I was thinking about also the makeup of our company. I think it's 50-50. So we have gender parity also on our team as well.
Yeah.
No, I think it's great. I think it's not something like I think about every single day just because we don't have like a, tech bro-y culture. I feel like everyone's voice is heard and everyone's opinions are really valued.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do brainstorm sessions where everyone's involved. We'll have, customer meetings where we talk about the meetings everyone's had with customers. So I think being on a team where the leader is really, both empathetic and then also visionary in terms of thinking about how this company fits into the larger scheme of what's going on in the world is really helpful.
Yeah.
So,
okay. So I want to talk about female founders, the capital landscape. As we all know, the numbers really haven't shifted and more women companies getting funded. You're so vocal about female founders and startups and women-led companies. What's your opinion on the funding landscape? Why aren't women getting funded as much as they should be?
Yeah. So I still, even though it's not my job anymore, spend, I would say, definitely a lot of my time connecting founder friends, like a lot of women founders, female founders with investors. And I think it's not that, their companies aren't as good or their ideas aren't as good, but it's that sometimes they're too honest. I think sometimes you need to be a little bit grandiose and be a little bit hyperbolic and show the investor in your pitch, be a little bit performative, like treat it like, you're a stand-up comedian and you're, doing a bit, a little bit, and show, really how big this idea can get. I think sometimes I found women are too focused on the details and the minutia on like where the business is today.
And not where it's going.
Now we're not like as much on like the big vision and like how huge this could get. And this is why you need to get in like yesterday. So when I talk to my friends, I think that's a lot of the feedback I give. And when I give it, it's always taken well. And then people usually are able to get the initial meeting, which is great.
Yeah. What opportunities do you see emerging for women-led companies?
Great question in terms of where I think folks should invest today, maybe look and spend some more time. One sort of like hotter take that I have. Ari Emanuel also just said something about this yesterday. I think invested in like a IRL sort of business, entertainment business. But basically, the TLDR is as we have these AI tools that make us much more efficient at work, we'll have more free time and more leisure time.
Oh, interesting.
So
never thought of that, but it's so
it's so
in
true.
front of you. Yeah.
Exactly. Quick kind of sidebar, but this weekend I was at my local needlepoint store. It was 10 degrees outside. There was a line around the block.
Wow.
So I think there's going to be a return to sort of these, or there has been sort of towards these more like analog hobbies that aren't cheap. So I think if someone is able to essentially like modernize a lot of these businesses and help them, get up to speed to the 21st century and like use, more modern POS systems, like integrate AI into their businesses, fix their supply chain issues. Like it takes like 6 to 12 months to get like a needlepoint pillow finished.
Yeah.
I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah.
So that's something selfishly that I would like built or someone should work on or invest in. But yeah, I think just looking through all of the opportunities in like your leisure activities. Like what do you do with the time you don't spend at work? And like how can we fill that in interesting ways?
Yeah. And that makes so much sense because we've continued to evolve as a society that is getting away from this. You have to be in a corporate structure working 9 to 5. And that's all you do is you go to work and then you go home.
Yes. I saw your video on this about like, being first in, last out, et cetera.
Yeah. Now it's more about how can I have this ecosystem life of not just work, but creating and building a brand and building my network and having hobbies and doing all these things that create fulfillment.
Totally.
And so it's like we're almost shifting. I mean, that's always been there. People are just shifting more towards that.
I think like balance is everything. Like my friends and I always say this, like we do our marathon training and then we all have pretty, intense, crazy jobs, but we always make time for fun and for seeing each other.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important. And I think there was another study that we always talk about, like the Goodword team on, the number one predictor of longevity in life. You would think it's something like exercise or sleep. Like those things are obviously important.
Right.
But relationships.
Yeah.
The top one.
So for the ambitious corporate professional, let's say woman working in finance who is clocking in and clocking out and just feels overwhelmed by work, what advice would you give to her?
Find the thing that really excites you. Like take a step back and do this sort of like thought exercise of, I know earlier in our conversation, I talked about like, what are you optimizing for in this job right now?
Yeah.
So to that woman who's in her really stressful, it sounds, finance job, I would think about, why did I take this job in the first place? What did I want to learn? Did I learn that thing? What am I wanting to do next? And kind of what's like the bigger plan for my career? Like, do I want to start my own fund? Do I want to start my own company? Do I want to join a company that maybe I'd, represented on the buy side or the sell side, like whatever it is, and just doing a lot of reading and consumption of content. Like while she's on the subway, I would listen to podcasts. I would, assuming she has some time for this, like also do some informational calls with other folks in the industry and start to also create content. Because I think, you and I both know, I think it can open so many doors because you never know who's going to read that random thing you wrote or see the video. And that's the magic of it. But obviously I know she's in a busy job. So I think even just starting by consuming a lot of content and learning is a good stepping stone.
Yeah. Well, I think too, so many women, especially in corporate environments, are told, put your head down, work hard, build your skills, and then you'll make it. You'll climb the ladder. But I'm a believer that that's not necessarily true. It's actually about how are you building visibility? Like, who are your mentors? Who are your supporters? Who are the people that are going to pull you up?
Yep.
I would think you believe the same.
Totally. Yeah. And I think even like distinguishing between like a mentor and like, I don't know, I think my mom calls it like a sponsor, like a champion. So I think that's also important. I totally agree with you. Like when I think back to an internship that I had like after my sophomore year in college, it was at a private equity firm. It was mostly guys. I think it was all guys in the intern class. And then also mostly guys who worked there. And there was one woman and she saw me one day, like, being first one in, last one out, and then moved my desk next to hers. And we spent the rest of the summer, like, she would mentor me on, sort of career path stuff, what I wanted to do, all of the different things you could do in finance that weren't just banking and sales and trading. And definitely credit like getting into venture and getting excited about that industry because of her. So her name is Serena. She's the absolute best.
I love that.
And
it's hard to find women.
Yeah. So that, I would say that experience happened organically, kind of. But I think we also need to teach women how to be really good mentees.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot on like, be a mentor. Like it's, that's a little bit more self-explanatory, but being a good mentee, like, how do you find mentors? Mentors don't always have to be like 10, 20 years older than you. Like I have friends that I consider mentors.
Yeah, me too.
And I also don't think they have to be in your same industry.
Right.
So like one of my best friends is a mentor of mine. He's probably 10 years older than me, but he's a lawyer. But like he's, one of my closest confidants and I tell him everything and he gives me great advice. So the first thing I would just say to the sort of younger career professionals listening is that even if you think you can't offer something, you probably can.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's like my number one piece. Just like try to help first. And then the person I think will be more willing to help you and see your career in this more kind of full picture.
Yeah. And we too, like at her workplace, always encourage our community to be curious.
Yeah.
Like you can ask those questions
Totally.
of like, hey, how can I help you?
Exactly.
Or like, is there anything I can do for you?
Totally.
That's a great way to like gather that information because sometimes, it can be intimidating, especially if you do have a mentor that may be more senior than you in your company or your industry. It may be intimidating or just overwhelming to think like, well, what can I give them?
Well,
just
even
ask.
Yeah. And then even thinking about it, like thinking about a person as like a human.
Yeah.
Like even if this person is like, I don't know, you want to be this person and they're your goals, like they're also a person.
Yeah.
Maybe they're new to New York City. Maybe you've grown up here. Maybe you can recommend a great pediatrician for their kid.
Yeah.
Like there are so many unexpected ways to help and be valuable. Or they're visiting a new city. Maybe you can recommend a restaurant that you went there. And that's another way to be helpful. So I think being creative about the things that you can add value in, like even if you think, there's nothing I can do, there's probably something that you can help with.
Yeah.
So
I love that advice.
And then be a little bit pushy.
Yep. Yeah. You have to be like ambitious and aggressive a little bit.
And always follow up.
Yeah. It's okay to feel like you're annoying.
Yeah. But then I always say send like handwritten thank you notes.
Yes. That's such a good one. So I will say I have fallen off doing that, but that is something I did for a long time in my career because it makes such a big difference.
Yeah. I think it was something that was taught to me at a young age. Like I remember when you were little, you had to invite every single kid in your class to your birthday. And I think it was like writing every single kid, like, thank you note, like, thank you for coming and all of that.
Yeah.
And how happy it made them. Like they'd be like, I got your note in the mail, etc.
So cute.
Goes a long way. And I think like, I know you have a 1-year-old, so like teaching her early that like this is something to do
really
and
important.
Like yeah.
Well, it stands out in this like digital age that we live in.
Totally.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit more about your thoughts on how women build influence and credibility, especially in like fast moving startup environments.
So I would say for those women in these fast moving startups, similar to the one I'm at, my advice would be to make yourself irreplaceable. That's obvious. So good. That's obviously a very big thing, but the way that I would break it down tactically is what are the things that you add to the team that nobody else could do? Like if you left today,
what would be lost?
Yeah, what would be lost?
That's a good one.
So
I like that a lot.
So yeah, for those listening at startups, think about that.
And sometimes that can be your network.
Yeah.
or like who you're connected with or
Exactly.
what your
Who you
past,
can quickly call up to like do something.
or
So,
what your past experiences or skills have been.
exactly.
That's so good. Be irreplaceable.
Yep.
Yeah. What leadership skills do you think really matter in those like early stage environments?
I think being a great listener.
Mm,
Like I would say being a great listener in terms of listening to your team and really being able to incorporate that again into the larger vision for the product and company that you're building. But probably even more important than that is being a great listener to your customers. So,
yeah.
what are those early users saying? How are they using the product? What are the pain points they're trying to solve? I think if you can listen to those, two parties really well, that's a recipe for success.
Yeah.
Because I think that's another place where people can go wrong if they
Yep.
just think they know all the answers.
It's all about what's the impact that you're having
Exactly.
on your customers and how can you get as much information out of them and their experience as you can.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure you guys are talking to your community all the time.
Yeah. So we sadly have to end, but I want to close with kind of 3 quick questions for you that are kind of fun and getting to know you a little bit more. What is one habit that helps you stay grounded on a daily basis?
Running. I got into it a couple of years ago. My friends and I signed up for the New York City Marathon.
Oh my gosh.
And I've since done 2 marathons and 2 half marathons.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
Committed to the bit there.
That's awesome. What is something that you used to believe about career success that you no longer believe?
Everyone knows what they're doing.
So good. And then lastly, what does building a meaningful, relationship-centered career in the AI era mean to you?
For me, it means having trust at the center of everything in social capital. I think that's the thing that people care most about.
Yeah.
People care. Like if you messaged me and you were like, I need an intro to blah, 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 I would do it immediately. But if it were, like a random AI messaging me with no context, I think I'd probably ignore the message.
Yeah. Kind of like we said before, it's like technology can help you get there.
But can't do it for you.
Right. So good. Well, thank you so much, Alex.
Thank you for having me.
Have you.
This was so much fun.
Yeah, such a great conversation.
Official meeting.
I know. Well, thank you and really appreciate all of your guidance and advice.
Hopefully there were some good nuggets in there.
So good. Thank you.